Audiences were shocked by The Exorcist in 1973, probably because it involved a 12-year-old girl, Reagan, being possessed by a demon, swearing like a docker, vomiting fountains of green goo, and stabbing herself with a crucifix. But William Friedkin's film wasn't just a shocking horror movie. It was a box office smash that was nominated for 10 Oscars, including Best Picture. William Peter Blatty went on to win the Best Adapted Screenplay prize for a script based on his best-selling novel. It would always be impossible to recreate such a phenomenal success, but that hasn't stopped people from trying. There have been several forgettable Exorcist sequels and prequels already. Now, to mark the original film's 50th anniversary, David Gordon Green has made a follow-up intended as the first part of a trilogy. From 2018 to 2022, he directed 3 Halloween films starring Jamie Lee Curtis, so making legacy sequels to 1970s horror classics is obviously his favorite occupation. The Exorcist Believer is the story of 2 girls who get possessed. The year is 2010. Victor Fielding visits Port-au-Prince, Haiti with his pregnant wife, Seren. An earthquake takes place that severely injures Seren. She dies, but the baby survives. 13 years later, Victor is settled in Percy, Georgia with his daughter, Angela. One day, Angela makes a plan with her classmate, Catherine, to go to the woods after school. When they don't return, their worried parents call the cops. The police officers try their best, but are unable to locate their whereabouts. 3 days later, Angela and Catherine are found in a barn 30 miles away from the woods. Shockingly, they have no memory of how they reached the barn, that too without shoes. On top of that, they believe that they were gone only a few hours. Once back home, both Angela and Catherine start behaving weirdly, scaring their parents. What happens next forms the rest of the film. The Exorcist Believer is a pretty good movie that's so stuffed with characters and not quite developed ideas that you may come away from it thinking about what it could have been instead. It's probably the first Exorcist sequel since 1977's fitfully brilliant Exorcist II, The Heretic, to capture the persistent sense of the uncanny that made William Friedkin's first entry in the series a smash hit. David Gordon Green's direction is just okay. The director sets up the story well initially. The sequence of the earthquake and that of the missing girls is very captivating. Moreover, getting the character from the first part, The Exorcist 1973, is a masterstroke. The opening third, which sets all of the narrative pieces in place, is the slowest and subtlest part of the movie. But it's also the most satisfying because of the confident way it uses silence, misdirection, and negative space to make the audience wonder if evil is already present in the story, or if we're just being paranoid. Green has clearly studied William Friedkin's original as if it were a holy, or unholy, text, and reproduces some of the master's techniques for setting viewers on edge. The film becomes less compelling as it goes along, however, ultimately succumbing to the horror movie equivalent of the problem that often afflicts superhero movies packed with lots of heroes and villains. The story's energy gets dispersed, and the movie gradually loses touch with the source of its initial power, the privilege of focusing on the main characters, a widowed father named Victor Fielding and his daughter Angela. Unfortunately, the makers failed to utilize this trump card to its potential. Firstly, many are not aware that the character they see on screen has a connection with the first part. The makers should have established it well. Secondly, the second half is cliched and something we have seen countless times before. The film also ends abruptly, probably because a sequel is in the offing. But in the end, the movie still becomes more of an exercise in logistics than the kind of work that'll keep you up till dawn wondering if you made sure to close every window to prevent the dreaded demon Pazuzu from sneaking in and possessing you. Which is how the writer of this piece spent several insomniac months after seeing the original Exorcist on TV as a child. The performances are all beyond reproach, even in relatively small roles like that of Sparge's priest, a showboater shocked and humbled by what he's gotten himself into. Odom is especially impressive because his character is so internalized and uncommunicative, but he still manages to get across the father's distress and complex and often contradictory emotions. The child leads are superb and seem to be having fun saying horrible things to adults. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Exorcist Believer. If you agree with our take or think we missed something, please let us know in the comments below. Remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on our future movie reviews and discussions.